तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So yesterday we were seeing Mauna Vyakhyana Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varsishtantaiva Sadurshaganihi Avratam Brahmanishtham Acharyendram Karakalita Janmuttramanandarupam Swatmaramam Muditavadanam Dakshinamurti Mede. I salute that Dakshinamurti who has a smiling face and who is established in the bliss. Swatmaramam, who is enjoying himself, meaning he is established in the bliss, who is the Lord of all the Acharyas, the Master of Masters, and young, who established the self through the Chinmudra. That also we saw. Karakalita Chinmudram, with the Chinmudra, which is decorating his hands. That way we saw. And we went to the next shloka. Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam sakala munijananam jnanadataramarat tribhuvana gurumisham dakshinamurti devam janana marana dukkacheda daksham namami. It's a beautiful shloka. Namami, I salute. Salute whom? Daksham, the expert. Expert in what? Cheda Daksham, one who is expert in cutting, destroying. What? Yes, I salute him, one who is expert in cutting, one who is expert in destroying. Destroying what? Dukkha, the sorrow. One who is expert in cutting the sorrow. What kind of sorrow? Janana Marana Dukkha. The sorrow of birth and death. It is samsara. So, while explaining that, he is establishing where you can find this Dakshinamurti. Where is this Dakshinamurti seated? Beautiful shloka this is. On the outset, I will just explain the meaning, word meaning. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata vitapi samipe, on the, close to the banyan tree. Close to the banyan tree. Bhumi bhage. Close to the, on the ground. On the ground. A rice platform kind of, okay. Nishannam. One who is seated. Nishannam. One who is seated. One who is seated on the ground of the banyan tree. Okay. Sakala muni jananam jnanadataram arat. One who gives arat immediately. Sakala muni jananam, for all the people, all the people who desire knowledge, to them jnanadataram, one who delivers the knowledge, one who gives the knowledge. Sakala Munijananam Jnanadataram, one who gives the knowledge for all the people who desire this knowledge. Arat, immediately. Okay. Tribhuvana Gurum Isham. Tribhuvanam, 3 worlds. Gurum, he is the Guru of all the 3 words. Isham, he is the Lord, Guru of all the 3 words. That Isham, Dakshinamurti Devam, one who is the Dakshinamurti deity. I salute for getting, who is expert in destroying the cycle of birth and death, the sorrow of cycle of birth and death. That is the word meaning. But that you can read from any book. What is the meaning here? Beautiful. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata vitapi, banyan tree. There is no change again. Banyan tree. But what is banyan tree? Banyan, what does banyan tree signify here? In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna starts with the description. Urdhumulam adhashakam ashvatham prahuravyayam chandam siyasya parunani yastam veda savedavit. Urdhumulam adhashakam. He is explaining the banyan tree which has the root upwards and the branches downwards. That is a implication, it is pointing out to what? A figurative way of establishing the samsara tree. So, banyan tree is the tree of samsara. Very beautiful. And close to that, at the root of, Bhumi Bhage means at the root of the banyan tree, he is seated. That means Dakshinamurti also is under the spell of samsara. If that is so, then how do you explain this final line? One who is capable, expert in cutting asunder the cycle of birth and death, which is samsara. How can you explain that? So understand this. Such a beautiful shloka this is. What is samsara? What is samsara? Samsara is cycle of birth and death. Okay. The third statement, he says, Tribhuvana Gurum Isham. Tribhuvana. Tribhuvana means three bhuvana, the three worlds. Guru, he is the Lord of three worlds. He is the Guru of all the three worlds. Now you have to understand three worlds in connection with the first word, which is the tree of samsara. Okay. Now, where is he seated? He is seated below. And where is the tree? It is behind, it is above. What is this? Where will be the substratum? Will the substratum for the tree be above or below? Basic naturally it is below. So it is referred to here as in the Bhumi Bhage, means he is seated in the Bhumi Bhaga on the ground level, meaning at the ground level, meaning he is the substratum for that tree. We are talking about the substratum for the tree of samsara. Wait. Substratum for the tree of samsara. Then what does it make Dakshinamurti of? Dakshinamurti, we have already established, Dakshina means knowledge. Dakshina means knowledge. So the knowledge form is the substratum of the samsara. Beautiful. Where can the samsara be? The samsara cannot have as its substratum anything else other than the self. And self is of the nature of knowledge. Self is of the nature of knowledge. Now, this should be understood. What is samsara? Samsara is of the nature of ignorance. And what is Dakshinamurti? Dakshinamurti is of the nature of knowledge. And where is the ignorance based on? The ignorance is based on knowledge. It is like saying the darkness is based on the light. How can a contradictory thing be based on one another? So, by saying that very thing, by saying that ignorance is based on the self, that very statement makes one of them a lie. One of them a lie. Either the darkness, which is ignorance, is a lie, or the light, the substratum, which is the self, is a lie. So, which will we knock off as lie? We cannot knock off the substratum as a lie, because without substratum there can be no existence of something else. We are not even entering the superimposition. Without the substratum there can be no existence of another thing. So whatever you say exists, that needs a substratum. So I cannot knock off the substratum. I have to knock off the creation, the ignorance as a lie. There is no choice for me. Because without the substratum, nothing can exist. But what is substratum really? That has to be understood. In young age, my grandmother used to say a story. This is a very common story in India, the South India especially. Three people, they went to a king. They were all experts. Individually, they were all experts. One is expert in percussion, music. The other is expert in logic. The third one is expert in medicine. All these three people go to the king. The king says, the minister who has to test them, he says, okay, you people stay in that house for today. We'll see tomorrow. We'll have an interview tomorrow, then we'll decide. Okay, so he puts all of them in one place and he gives them money for that day expenditure. Okay, fine. So they have all the cooking utensils, etc. Now what they need is rice, vegetable, oil, all these things for cooking. Okay, so there is rice. So this music man says, I will cook. Okay, I will cook. So he puts a pot of a pot and he starts boiling the water and cooking the rice. Meantime, the doctor says, I'll go and bring vegetables from the market. The logician says, no worries, I will go and bring the ghee, the clarified butter. I will go and bring. Okay, you go and bring it. I will cook the rice till then. Okay. The medicine man, the Ayurveda expert, he goes to the shop to buy vegetables. Oh, that is potato gas. This is cucumber. It is cold. So he negates every vegetable, saying this is useless for this will create that problem and that will create this problem. He does not buy any vegetable. He comes back. And we have the logician who has gone to buy the ghee. He has a vessel. He buys ghee in that. He says, okay, give me ghee in that because it's only for 3 people. So this is enough. So he takes ghee, and while coming, he starts wondering which is the base for which. Is the ghee holding the vessel or is the vessel holding the ghee? Beautiful. So he says, okay, we'll test it. He puts the ghee vessel upside down. The whole ghee is lost. He comes back empty-handed. Which is the substratum for this joke? Now after that they come and when they come, they see this musician is in a very angry mood. Why? The water is boiling. The rice is boiling. He is cooking the rice. Okay. So he says, takadimi, 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 takadimi. And the water is it doesn't follow his musical notes. He gets angry. He breaks the pot and destroys so they remain without eating anything. They are of course not taken in the kingdom. So anyway, which is the substratum? The ghee is the ghee substratum or is the vessel substratum? So there we understand that the vessel is the substratum, not the ghee. So you cannot knock the vessel and have only the object, which is meaning without the substratum there can be no object. So now this whole tree is based on whom? The self Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti is the substratum. You can knock off the tree but not the substratum Dakshinamurti, knowledge. How can ignorance exist in knowledge? That is the second question. Which is the substratum? We understood. Knowledge is the substratum. But how can ignorance exist in knowledge? They are contradictory like light and darkness. How can light and darkness coexist? That coexistence, the idea of coexistence itself establishes one of them is a superimposition. One of them is a lie, as I said. One of them does not have a real existence. So, we have already established the substratum is not a lie. Without the substratum, no other object can exist. So, that another object, which is ignorance, cannot coexist with knowledge. Therefore, the ignorance can only be a superimposition. Without the superimposition, there can be no creation. We have to accept that. Without the superimposition, there can be no creation. So that is the basis of Vedanta. We were explaining this in the Dominion class. Adhyasa. Without accepting adhyasa, the superimposition, we cannot have the truth. We cannot have Vedanta means we cannot have the truth. We cannot understand the truth. Adhyasa is superimposition. Superimposition means, adhyasa means the idea of that in not that. The idea of something else in something else. Like we have the idea of the snake in a rope. The idea of snake in a rope. So, now, when talking about the idea of snake in a rope, we have to understand this adhyasa, this superimposition, this ignorance. Because if the self, the knowledge is the substratum for this ignorance, when did that knowledge come? Why is it existent? These kind of questions will arise. Though they are stupid questions, still without gaining the answer for that, understanding a logical answer, without having a logical answer, we cannot proceed further. So, we'll see how the ignorance, when the ignorance came into existence. This is rope snake. On the rope, I superimpose the idea that it is a snake. So, I didn't superimpose actually because of the error. There may be different types of error. The error in your seeing, the vision, the error in your mind, the error in the external object. There can be any cause which aids to project the snake on the rope. My eyesight is not proper. Oh, that is certified now. So, that may be a reason. Or there is no proper light. That may be a reason. Or the object, this rope has the same properties, similar properties, not the same properties, similar properties of that of the snake. The rope is also of the same size of the snake. The rope is also of the same color of the snake. So, the snake which you have seen is superimposed here. So, that is how the ignorance can exist in the knowledge. Wait, again. When did this ignorance come into existence? That you have not answered. When did the rope snake come into existence? Can we give an answer for this? When did the rope snake come into existence? No, when I saw, that is not an answer. When you saw, you understood that there is a snake, but that is not a proof for the snake to have emerged at that point of time. When you saw the snake, but when did that snake appear on the rope? Because you don't know that it is a rope. You think it's a snake. So you have no answer of when the snake came into existence. So you have to say that I don't know. That I don't know answer cannot go well with Vedanta. So it can go with superiors, not with Vedanta. So what is this I don't know here? We explain it as, we use the word anadi, beginningless. There is no beginning that which can be attributed for the snake. Similarly, there can be no beginning that can be attributed for this creation. You cannot say at the beginning of the creation, because all these ideas people have because of accepting this one birth system, one birth, one death system. You are born, you die, over. You believe in one God, you don't believe in God, you don't believe in that God, then you are either going to heaven or you are doomed. Very illogical. Because of no fault of mine, I am cursed. Why should I be non-believer because of no fault of mine? If God is common for everyone, God should have made me a believer. No, then that's a problem. So what we accept here is a flawless, errorless rebirth system. And we do not prescribe or subscribe to this idea that this birth of yours is caused by your previous birth. You are not just extinguishing the karmas of the previous birth. We accept a package of karmas to be cause of this birth. And what is that package? It is aided by the previous birth, but it is the package is from all your past births, all the multiple past births, aided by previous birth, and a package of all the karmas, many karmas from the past birth. How is that? Aided by the good way of life or bad way of life of the previous life. Now, in this life, if I am being good, if I am being good means I am not doing any evil activity as accepted by the world or as accepted by the scriptures. As accepted by the world or as accepted by the scriptures, both. Because in the world, there are some rules which very clearly say this is bad and this is good. Even that is accepted. So, there we have to see a person who performs good karmas all his life. He does not even know the Shastra. He may not even need to know the Shastra. But he is not hurting others. He is not doing any evil deeds to hurt others, etc. These are accepted to be common good qualities in person. So because of those good qualities, the past births which you have taken for so many eons of year period, so that regroups, the good karmas of the past regroup and give you a better birth. If you are an evil person in this life, then the bad karmas of the past will regroup and give you your next birth. Without this acceptance of rebirth, the whole logic will collapse. Whatever you say, because all these ideas of why is a Brahmin in that position, why is a Kshatriya in that position, why is Shudra in this position, why is Vaishya in that position, all these ideas are because of all these questions rise because of the ignorance regarding the birth. Ignorance regarding the birth, ignorance regarding the rebirth. If you understand this karma theory that your birth is a programmed version of your past birth, if you understand that this birth is a package of the karmas of past birth, you will have no issues with the different kinds of births. I am good not because the God created me as good, because of my karmas which I have done in the past. I am bad not because God made me bad, because I did bad karmas in the past. That is why I am bad now. My good situation and bad situation is what I mean by bad and good. So, my good situation and my bad situation are not caused by God. Because if you start accepting that it is caused by God, then God is not qualified to be called as God. He cannot be qualified. Why? Because he is envious of you, he is jealous of you. All these kind of bad ideas will be superimposed in God. If he decides, why will he decide? Oh, you go to that place, you go to this place. Why will he decide like that? So he will not be God. So that is why we have to accept this. When you understand this karma theory, there will be no issues. It will all be very clear. And that is exactly what we spoke about yesterday. Okay. So this birth is because of the previous birth. Is because of the previous birth. Is because of the previous birth. That cycle does not end in the previous. In the past, that cycle does not. No. You don't understand it. Because you don't understand the logic. I'll explain it. There is a beginning for all this. How so? Because when this Big Bang happened and the creation started, and from the based on this Darwin and whatever theory, from the fish or from whatever animal, the human being modified, he morphed himself, he became a human being. That very first human being who didn't understand anything, and he started creating the scriptures to control people. That period is what I am talking about. If you start asking that stupid question, then we will say this Big Bang which you say happened because of your collective past karma. It is not just your own karma, it is your collective past karma. All of us are cause for that Big Bang to happen, and because of which this creation from the fish and whatever it came into existence, all that. So there is no at the beginning of creation. That is a stupid logic. The beginning of creation is because, like the beginning of this birth is because of my past birth, the karmas of past births. The beginning of this creation is the collective karma of the previous creation. So when the people of previous creation became extinct due to the pralaya or whatever, big dissolution, we call it as pralaya. So when the delusion takes place, the dissolution takes place, at that point of time, all of them go in a state of, all the jivas, all the beings, they go in a state of inertia. There's no activity there. Then when the right time comes, the right time for their karma to fructify comes, the creation starts again. The creation starts again. So that is what we call as the first creation. First creation is the cause of is a product of the previous creation. There is no first. Okay, in this cycle, there should be a first creation. There is no first because there is no beginning. We cannot attribute a beginning to this snake which you see on the rope, which you superimpose on the rope. There can be no beginning. The time you saw it is not the beginning of the snake. Similarly, the creation, this creation also does not have the beginning because you saw the beginning during 5,000 years, 10,000 years, whatever your number of years. Because every time the scientists say, okay, the creation happened 5,000 years ago. Then they, oh, no, 15,000 years ago. No. Then they change the time period into different periods. Now they say the pyramid, they start with the pyramid. Oh, the pyramid is this many years. Then they understand there is inside the pyramid, there is some cave which was more than the understood time period. Now with all the scientific advancements, they don't have to break open anything and do crash testing and all. Now even without that, they are able to use the X-ray and all those techniques and understand the time period. Great. Which makes us more ignorant than knowledgeable. Because earlier we thought this is what is the time period. Now we are not even sure about that. So these knowledges does not make us more knowledgeable but more ignorant about our own creation. So the beginning is a question which is out of date. It is impossible. That question itself is impossible at the beginning of. So everything is based on the past creation. This body is based on the past birth. This creation is based on the past creation. So there is no at the beginning of question itself. Okay. Now coming to Vatavitapi Samipe. So this Vatavita is this tree, this banyan tree, where this, but wait, how does the ignorance exist on the, I told you, ignorance exists on the substratum self through a lie, superimposition, ignorance. That superimposition itself is an ignorance, because there can be no different association between the superimposed and the substratum. Okay, I have this book. I keep the book on the table. There is an association between the table and the book, which is a separable association. There is a separable association. We call this Sanyoga Sambandha. There is this paper. This paper has whiteness. The whiteness of the paper cannot be removed from the paper. I cannot remove the white and paper separately. So the paper and white is in inseparable relationship. Okay. Now paper and white, inseparable relationship. Paper and table, separable relationship. What is the possible relationship for the ignorance and the substratum knowledge? Can it be separable relationship? If it is separable relationship, like a table and a paper, show me another place where the ignorance exists independently. Show me another place where your ignorance exists. Your ignorance exists. Show me another place. You cannot show another place where the ignorance has existence, because the idea itself is absurd. Ignorance exists. Ignorance exists. That idea itself is absurd. Why? Because existence is the nature of substratum, not the superimposition. No superimposition can have existence. If at all you see the existence, that existence belongs to the substratum. Like I have a superimposition of a pot or a vase in my hand. In my hand, I superimpose a pot. So I say pot exists. There is nothing other than my hand. That superimposition pot, the superimposed pot I say exists, is because of my understanding of the substratum's existence. The pot, superimposed pot cannot have a separate existence anytime. So, if I say it is inseparable relationship, like the pot and the hand, I should be able to show the pot irrespective of my hand, the substratum, which is impossible. So, I have to see to this idea that the ignorance and the self exist in inseparable relationship, like the white and the paper. Okay. The second option is ignorance exists in inseparable relationship with the knowledge. Beautiful. Then we are wasting our time. Let us go out and enjoy the world. Because if the ignorance exists in inseparable relationship with the self, it can never be separated. You understand? If the ignorance exists in the self, inseparable relationship, I have to be able to see the ignorance distinctly, which is impossible. I cannot see the existence of ignorance independent of the substratum. If the ignorance exists in inseparable relationship, then there is no point in studying Vedanta. Because I can never separate something which is inseparable. So I have to live with this. There is no choice. So that is why we have to understand in which relationship this ignorance is with the self. Ignorance cannot be in separable relationship. Ignorance cannot be in inseparable relationship with the self, because ignorance is superimposed, and the relationship of the superimposed with the substratum is also superimposed. The association between the superimposed and the substratum is also superimposed. There can be no real association. That is also a superimposed association. Okay. So, ignorance cannot have independent existence, separable relationship, impossible. Ignorant cannot be with the self-dependent relationship, because if it is so, it can never be separated. There is no point in studying Vedanta. So, we have to see the ignorance existing in the self in superimposed relationship. Ignorance is superimposed, and the relationship, the association between ignorance and knowledge also is superimposed. So that is why he says, Vatavitapi samipe bhubi bhage nishanam. He is sitting at the base of the tree of ignorance. He is sitting at the base means as the substratum. The ignorance has as its substratum this self. The ignorance has as its substratum the self. There is another thing. The ignorance not just has the substratum as itself, the ignorance also has as its object the self. What does the ignorance objectify? The self. Where does the ignorance exist? Self. The substratum of ignorance, self. The object of ignorance, self. How? We explain it with a simple example. When you see a room, that room which is dark, there is no light in that room. So the substratum for that darkness is that room, right? The substratum for darkness is that room. And the darkness is objectifying this vase, this glass. Is it okay? The ignorance is there, and it It is objectifying this glass. How can that be? Then you are like that man who was searching his lost object under the light. Where did you lose? I lost it in that half kilometer away, under the tree. And why are you searching here? There is no light there. How can I search there? So there is light, abundant light here. So I am searching here. So similar case will be yours if you accept this situation. That the darkness is there in that room, but it is objectifying this glass. No. The darkness has existence in that room, and the darkness objectifies things in that room. Because darkness engulfs that room, darkness does not let anything to be visible in that room. Because of darkness, you don't see anything in that room. Because darkness is objectifying the things of the room. So darkness has existence in that room, and darkness is objectifying that room. Similarly, ignorance has existence on the self, in the self, and ignorance is objectifying the self, the knowledge. Ignorance has existence in the self, and the ignorance objectifies that very self, like the darkness of the room and the objects of the room. It cannot be in different places, as I have explained. So he says, he is the one. Okay. But this is beautiful. How can there be this idea of darkness and ignorance coexisting? The idea of darkness and the darkness and light coexisting is absurd. There can be no darkness and light coexisting. Let me say, this dhoti is white. This cloth is a white cloth. This cloth is a white cloth. If I see a dark spot in this cloth, it is not the issue with the cloth. If I see a darkness which is non-existent in the cloth, that dark spot is superimposed by me on the cloth. That has nothing to do with the cloth. That has everything to do with the seer me. It is my problem. My eye problem or my problem which causes the dark spot in the to be seen in the cloth, white cloth, pure white cloth. Otherwise, there is no possibility of any dark spot in the white cloth. Unless until I put a white dark spot. So here, therefore, he says, this ignorance has as its substratum the self, which is only a superimposition. And that is because of ignorance existing in the substratum in ignorance association is visible, is understood, is experienced by me because of my ignorance. This I seeing the world in the substratum of the self, this is all this is a beautiful idea. Let us see. How is he explaining this, establishing this? The third line he says, Tribhuvana Guru Isham. That is why and the third line, first word, and the first line, first word I am associating. Tribhuvana Guru Isham. Tribhuvana means three worlds. The nether world, this world, and the higher worlds. Hell, mortal world, heaven. Naraka, Bhuloka, Swarga. So these three worlds. These three worlds, who created? God created. Who is the God? God is nothing but, like the creation is nothing but our collective karma. God is nothing but our collective karma in one sense, or he is one who has performed good karmas, very good karmas in many of the past births to gain that status of being the creator. Being the creator. We do not accept the God to be a permanent one. Godhead is a position. You can be a Shiva in the next creation. You can be a Vishnu in the next creation. We don't accept that as a single person. No, this person is the Shiva, this person. No. You can become the Shiva of the next creation. That is how we accept. How beautiful this is. Anyone who has the karma which gives him the ability, he can become that God. That Shiva, Vishnu are permanent positions. That position, there is no confusion here. But the one who sits in that position changes. It is not the same person. If I perform a good karma, I can be the next creator. If I desire to be the creator. That also is important. Just because you have karma does not mean you should be put in that position. It is not like the governments, politically appointed people. They don't even have the qualifications to be in that position, but they are sitting in that position. Here, there is no politics. If you desire to be the creator, you are eligible, because desire is the first root cause for all the problems. So you want to be the creator, you are eligible, then you can become a creator. If you don't want to be creator, that punya karma which you have acquired becomes the cause for the purity of heart. Like I said yesterday, chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhaye. The karma is for purifying the heart, not for gaining the self. So he says, Tribhuvana Gurum Isham, the creator who is the creator of all the three worlds. The three worlds, that Shiva or Vishnu, whoever that is, the Lord of the three worlds, the creator of the three worlds. This is with respect to the accepting this existence of the creation. Tribhuvana, all the three worlds. Now, if I don't accept, see how many options you have in understanding the truth. The problem with us is, if we are given these many options, we don't know, because we are idiots, we can't understand options, we just cannot follow the options. It's a simple thing. Earlier, when we used to go to hotel, we had beautiful choice. What do you want, idli or dosa? There is no other choice. There is one thing called idli, the other thing called dosa. Now, idli or dosa? Dosa. Masala dosa, plain dosa. Masala dosa. What kind of masala? The masala is the stuff which you fill in the dosa. What kind of masala? There again, hundreds of variety. Do you want it with this or that? Do you want ghee or oil? At the end of it, give me something, I'm hungry. That is what you can pray for. So, because we are not very good with choice, these options, we are lazy to inquire into these options. We are lazy. We are idiots because we are lazy. We are idiots because we are lazy. We are not idiots because we want to be idiots, or we are bound to be idiots. We are idiots because we are lazy. Simple. We don't want to use our brain. What if everything happens as it? I don't have to cook. We buy a machine which tells us, okay, now 3 cloves of garlic. 3 cloves of garlic. Now 2 kilos of rice. 2 kilos of rice. Now we think that it makes our life simple, but it is making our life more difficult. Because if you don't put 3 cloves of garlic, it will say, no, I won't cook. No, sir, only 3 cloves. If you add 4, no. If you add 3, 2, no. 3. Very difficult that is. Options, sir. We are lazy. How lazy we are? That is what is the question. And do you think it is better to be lazy? No, it is not. Like, we have a beautiful example. We have a beautiful story. There were 2 lazy fellows. Okay, I'm trying these stories. I'm telling these stories to have this idea implanted in your head. There are 2 lazy fellows. Okay, they are lying under the mango tree. And it's mango season, so the mango is ripe and it is falling. One fellow says to the other fellow, why don't I pick up that mango and squeeze it into my mouth? A logical thing? Yes. The other fellow says to him, if I am not that lazy, I would have shot the dog which peed on my mouth. So I I would have shooed it away. So don't. So that kind of lazy we are to use our brains. So this is a beautiful logic. So he says Tribhuvanam, 3 worlds. 3 worlds. If we accept the creator, then that is he is the creator and he is a position and he creates this world. All that beautiful system will come into existence. If you accept the 3 world as our own creation, what? 3 world is our own creation? Yes. How so? Okay. That is a dissolution. Now, a beautiful dream. That is a part of second creation. And I wake up. This is the third creation. Tribhuvanam. The dream state, the deep sleep state, and the waking state. This is the 3 worlds. So, Tribhuvana Gurum. He is the one who is the Guru, who is the Lord of 3. Wait. Am I not the Guru or creator of these 3 worlds? You said? Yes. Who are you? That is the question here. You are the Sakshi. You are the witness principle for all the 3 worlds. All the 3 worlds are witnessed by one person. One and the same person. He says, I who am in the waking state is the one who dreamt, is the one who blissfully slept. So, even the deep sleep state is perceived by someone. We have to accept that. I don't know anything. I don't know any perceiver there. Good. You don't know. I understand. But do you accept that you sleep peacefully? Yeah, that I can accept. Because I want to go to sleep. Not because the class is boring, but I love sleep. Now, we love to go to sleep. Why? Because there is a peace. There is a peace associated, there is a bliss associated with the sleep. How do you know without you experiencing that bliss? If you say, I don't know anything is the experience of deep sleep, then why will one go into that state where you don't know anything? Because like this reasoning, another reasoning is there, the fear of unknown. Like the kids, they don't want to go to a dark room to a room where there is no person. Why? Because it is the fear of unknown. If you don't know, then you are afraid. Then, if you don't know what is happening in deep sleep, you should be afraid of sleep. You should be like that Tom and Jerry characters with a stick holding your eyelids. You can't sleep. Even if, no, I can't, because I don't know what will happen there. There will be a ghost probably which will grab me. I don't know. That fear of unknown will be there if you don't accept the bliss in the deep sleep. That you experience that bliss in the deep sleep. Therefore, we say the person who experienced is the one who can comment upon that in the waking state. Without an experience of bliss, I cannot come and say, I slept peacefully. So, the experiencer of deep sleep is the experiencer of the dream, is the experiencer of the waking state. So, there is one common thread between waking, dream and deep sleep state, that is you, the experiencer. Now, this three worlds of dream, deep sleep state, dream state and the waking state are the three worlds of heaven, mortal world and the hell, whichever way you want to accept. See, for all these three worlds, he is the Ishvara, he is the Lord, he is the Guru. Because he is Dakshinamurti, knowledge principle. That is why he says, Jnana Dataram Arat. Arat, immediately Jnana Dataram, he gives the knowledge. He does not give the knowledge at the later point of time. Now you do the service. No, later I feel like no, immediately. If you are ready, you get it immediately. We should have to make ourselves ready. That is the only requisite here. Are we ready? That is the only question. So, he says, Tribhuvana Guru Visham Dakshinamurti Devam. He is the one who is the Lord of all the three worlds, all the three states. Who is that? Dakshinamurti Devam, the deity who is of the nature of knowledge. Dakshinamurti, knowledge form. The deity who is of the form of knowledge. And because he is the knowledge form and he has the capacity to provide the knowledge, give you the knowledge, deliver you the knowledge immediately, he is the expert in destroying the cycle of birth and death, which is samsara. So, he started with the person sitting under the tree of samsara, and he, in the last line, he established he is expert in cutting that very tree under which he is sitting. How beautiful that is. You cannot go to any other person other than who is the substratum. You cannot get rid of this samsara through any other means. Like there is this rope snake. How can I get rid of this snake? Take a stick, beat it. If you beat this snake in its midpoint or the tail point, it cannot be killed. To kill a snake, you have to hit it on the head. Okay, that is how you kill a snake. Now, that is how people there, I have seen killing the snake. Now, here, this rope snake, how can you kill it? By beating it, by burning it? No, you cannot destroy the snake. By shooting it? No, because this snake which you see, it does not have a real existence. This snake which you see does not have a real existence. Therefore, the treatment which you which you perform to get rid of a real, in quotes, snake does not work here. So, how do I get rid of this snake? By understanding the substratum rope. The only way to get rid of the snake is by understanding the substratum, that it is rope. Once I understand that the substratum, there is no possibility of the existence of the snake. There is no possibility for the existence of the snake. Because I know this is not a snake. Because I know this is a rope. If it is a rope, it cannot be snake as well. So, when you understand the substratum Dakshinamurti, then the tree of samsara cannot have existence. That is why that Dakshinamurti is the one who is expert in felling the tree of samsara. That is why he says, Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam sakala munijananam jnana dataram arat. Immediately. Tribhuvana Gurumesham, the Lord of the three worlds. Hell, mortal, heaven. Deep sleep, dream, waking state, whichever way. So, that Dakshinamurti Devam, who is expert in cutting the sorrow of samsara, the birth and death, to him my salutation. Namami. What is the time?
An hour past.
Past an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no urgency because there is too much of logic. Let the logic seep in. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.